So about One Piece Film Red, I'm really late to this, but if you are somehow unaware, One Piece was announced for a new movie. It's scheduled around mid to late 2022 if I remember correctly, which is pretty standard for One Piece movies. Every 2 to 3 years a new movie is released. Stampede came out in like 2019, so it wasn't completely out of nowhere. Me and probably lots of other people were expecting a movie soon. Nothing surprising about that. It didn't really surprise anyone that a movie was coming out soon. What is surprising though is what the movie is actually about. When they announced the movie, they also released some teaser art for it, and the logo for Film Red has a very similar looking scar over the name. I'm no genius or anything, but I'm pretty sure it's Shanks' scar. Not 100% though, but I think I'm at least a little confident that it is Shanks' scar. But yeah, that already pretty much confirms what the movie will focus on. It will involve Shanks and have him as a main character, which is obviously pretty cool since we haven't gotten anything from Shanks in a long time. Last time we saw him was at the end of like Reverie, when he went to go meet the Gorosei. So I decided to talk about the new Film Red movie and spitball some things it might possibly be about. Before that though, like and subscribe for future content. Alright, so I'm not 100% certain, but I think this movie will be at least partly canon. If Shanks is going to be a main focus, I can't think of why it wouldn't. Also the fact that we are close to transitioning to the final phase, or have it at least be partly canon, or like non-canon type of canon. Like how Strong World isn't really canon, but you can also consider it canon if you wanted to, since there is no actual content in the 2 years that was spent training. So the movie fills that 2-year gap with the event that happened. It will probably end up at something like that, where it can segue into the next arc, because I'm pretty sure the next arc will feature Shanks. Like I'm 99% certain. It won't be like Stampede for example, where they went to a pirate festival in the middle of Wano. It'll have some sort of connection to the actual plot. What's sad though is that it won't have Shanks as a main character. At first people thought that it will have Shanks as a main character, so no straw hats and having it just focus on Shanks. But this was indirectly debunked when more art for the movie was released. They showed the outfits for the straw hats in the movie in a Twitter post. So a straw hatless One Piece movie is out the window. It would have been a cool concept, since literally every other movie focuses on the straw hats. I don't hate them or anything, but having a movie that doesn't focus on them will be a nice change of pace, especially on a character like Shanks. As for what will actually happen in the movie, there are a few possibilities. The first option I default to is it involving Elbaf. Maybe not them being in Elbaf yet, but as I said, it could segue into the Elbaf arc, since I expect it to be at least partly canon. So like maybe the Straw Hats have a detour somewhere, and they end up running into Shanks and help him with something, which would end with them heading to Elbaf with Shanks. Something along those lines. Just them running to Shanks and doing a side thing before heading to Elbaf, the main arc. I mean, it'll be pretty standard but kind of disappointing, since you know, it is a movie with Shanks. You don't see that every day. I had a second idea, but with the Straw Hats coming along it kind of ruins it. But I was thinking about it being a movie going over Shanks' life, like just things he did as a pirate, just going over his adventures and stuff. Because we know pretty much nothing about how Shanks became a Yonko. We went from him splitting up with Buggy at Logtown, to him hanging out with Luffy when he was a kid, to him then becoming a Yonko, which was after he lost his arm to the sea beast, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, there's tons of gaps in Shanks' past that we know nothing about. I mean, maybe it doesn't have to be his whole journey, since that would be a lot to pack into one movie, but at least the highlights of Shanks' travels. Like when he fought Mihawk for example. A lot of people have been waiting for Oda to finally show us this fight, since it was hyped up by a lot of characters. We just need a flashback or something to give an excuse to show us the actual fight, and this movie would have been the perfect opportunity for that, even if it was just focusing on Shanks and Mihawk, with how they met and their fights and all of that. I guarantee that this type of movie would have done really well. Majority of One Piece fans are waiting to see this fight and Shanks and Mihawk's history with each other. If it wasn't that though, it could be like how he became a Yonko. We don't know who, but there must have been a Yonko before Shanks. I don't know how long Yonkos have been around in the One Piece world, or if there even was always 4 emperors, since it could be that Shanks just became that notorious as a pirate, so they raised the number of emperors to 4, like how Luffy was titled as the 5th emperor, even though his is more of a nickname, and he isn't really acknowledged as one. But still, Shanks did not just get the title, he must have done something to become an emperor, so a movie on that too would be pretty great, but neither of those would happen, since it would be going over Shanks' past, and it is already confirmed that the current Straw Hats will be in it. So yeah, my best guess is what I said first, that it would be the Straw Hats doing a side thing before heading to Elbaf with Shanks. I would much prefer the second option, but we won't be getting it from the looks of it. But yeah, that is pretty much all I had to say. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe for future content. Peace.